Last time when you last saw Volps, he was running out trying to save somebody. Today, I'm working with him. He's trying to save somebody else. I've never seen anything like this guy. He doesn't stop. But right on, we're glad to see y'all. And we're here to talk. I think you see our title, and we're going to get into that right away, really, to see is 1 month in, do you think Donald Trump has been a good president or a bad president? Or if you want, we can do it in the middle and then just take it from there. Or if you want, we can do it in the middle. Oh, I'm hearing, turn it off. I'm hearing me.
You got
Okay.
it. Turned off.
Okay. He's killing me. I'm hearing me. Turn it off. So it's
Technology is not our friend.
no. So that's not ours. So that's really the big question. We have to look at this and say, oh, what's he doing? Okay. Let's look at this. We've had a lot of things happen this month. First thing is, let's just go real quick. Let's say good things he's done, okay? Or maybe good things may work out. Gaza, Spartacus, how are you, baby? You're ready. We love you. Okay, we just got to get people worked up. Okay, here we go. If there's one thing I would say that's positive, I would say thank you for the thumbs up. Is positive is Gaza. What he has done is he has gotten the Arab countries around there to actually talk to each other about how they think they're going to get involved to try to bring peace there. Now, they have kept hands off. We've complained about this for so long. They kept hands off from the beginning, always complaining, throwing money around, but never building, trying to help or do anything. Now they are going to have something to do, I believe, with the peace process or whatever in Gaza. However, that's going to go. That looks like it's going to break up. It looks like there's going to be a little explosion there. But okay, he shook things up there. Is there anything else that I think that he has kind of done okay? Well, he's gotten Fox News's viewership up big time. He's done that well. I say that's pretty good. And he sure has the propaganda machine going. Thanks for the thumbs up. We're looking at him being really good, and I'm on him, but not on him, at blowing lies out there, okay? He comes out and says, we put 350 some million into Ukraine. No, we did. It was like 150, and most of it was weapons. He's now loving the Russians like there was any surprise. But the Russians are thugs. He comes in and says Ukraine could have stopped it. That's fine. But let me get to really where I'm worried. We have two major issues that I'm worried about that I think Trump has really blown the gasket. That I'm not talking national security will be on that. Number one is the economy. And how long have we been talking on this show about the economy? I mean, months ago. And if you go on to Just American Citizen, you'll see my stuff there on inflation and stuff. Been saying nonstop. Inflation is either staying the same or going up. It ain't coming down, and interest rates are the same, and things are just going to start getting bad out there. We were talking stagflation last week, saying we got a problem. What's stagflation? When the economy starts getting stagnant, but inflation stays up. It's a problem. Okay, let's look at what's going on. You got layoffs going everywhere now. They're going on TV. I love watching them on Fox. They're going, wow. Okay, it's federal people getting laid off. I'm seeing more than federal people getting laid off. I'm seeing other corporations now starting to lay people off. Large amounts of people. It's like a disease that just starts happening because it starts, whether it starts at the government or it starts at corporations. They start laying people off. They go, well, if they can lay people off and cut their overhead so I can make more money, I can lay people off and cut people. So one of the things you're going to start seeing, I believe, is unemployment getting surprisingly frisky. Okay, let's put it that way, as it starts going up. At the same time, we're already seeing, though we said this months ago, Joe. Now they're saying the retailers are afraid that the people may not be buying anymore. They're going to be cutting that back on what they think they're going to be buying. Why? It's like I said, it's like a disease that builds out there. You lay people off, and those people don't want to buy anything. Then those people who work at those stores get laid off. Then the people who they buy stuff from have issues. Meanwhile, you have tariffs in the background. Do we really have tariffs yet that Trump's put in? Not outrageously, but the fact of saying tariffs makes corporations have to plan for tariffs. If there's no tariffs, they'll live well. But if there's tariffs, they have to be ready, which means they start putting in price increases. We talked about this around Christmas and New Year's, about how certain things were on sale and suddenly the sale price went up when he started talking tariffs. And it's because people, corporations, and markets start looking ahead. They don't wait until the day the tariffs are put into effect. It's when it starts going, it starts looking ahead. And when it starts looking ahead and sees the tariffs and sees the prices going up, the manufacturers have to see, where am I going to go to buy my stuff? And how am I going to keep my prices down? If I can, am I going to raise my prices? And people are going to start seeing this. It's a real problem right now. Ivan, right on, but we still have to deal with it. He's only been there for 1 month. But you're right. We ain't getting $5,000 checks. We'll get on to Musk and that. That's all a jive so far, Doge. All the stuff they're putting up, so much of it's a fraud, and a fake. Remember, we're an opinion group. That's what we do, is our opinion, but we look and we see what the facts are and we get into it. So you have this with the economy. You got an economy with inflation going up. You got an economy, and yeah, it's Trump's fault because he kept talking tariffs, and he keeps talking tariffs, and he doesn't stop talking tariffs. And at the same time, he's breaking off all of our relationships with our friends. You don't think that affects inflation? You don't think that affects our economy? Think about it. Do you have friends? Do you like having friends? Or do you want to have no friends? We got no friends. I'll tell you this. People who start traveling to Europe this summer, I would not put on my USA outfits. I wouldn't wear red, white, and blue, because you don't know what they're going to do. We got booed in Canada. And we deserve it, because what's going on is this incredible reordering of the economy, where Trump knows it's going to wipe things out for a few years. Musk said it during the campaign. There's no question it's going to really smash the economy for at least 2 years. Think about it. Unemployment up, inflation up, stuff coming. Where are you going to buy your stuff? And then Trump says what he's doing is he's building for the future. It takes 4 years, 5 years for a company to build a plant. They are not building plants here that much. It's just not happening. Thank you, vaccinated. I love you. It's right on. We talk as Americans here, okay? We respect you if you like Trump. I
Absolutely.
have no problem. Joe doesn't. Look, we've said this since the beginning, way back. Our problem isn't with you guys. You're great. We're talking about we're Americans. And all of a sudden, how can you blind yourself to what's going on out there in the economy? And what he's doing is he's throwing all this stuff out there to make it look like, wow, this is all great. While at the same time, it's starting to course through and people aren't seeing it. And all of a sudden, it's going to be then he's going to go, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And it's just going to keep coming down. And that's what the problem is. Well, I'm happy you do, Ivan. We don't. But right on, you're Russian, and I'm so happy we have a Russian
We love
person
Russians
watching.
too.
Yeah, well, we'll
Not
go there.
Putin
Please
so
give it.
much,
Look,
but the
we
Russian
don't care.
people we love.
Say it, Joe. Look, we don't care if you like us or not. Just give us a thumbs up. We're happy you're talking to us. We tell you straight how we feel. We don't fool around here. I mean, hey, that's where it is. And I know Trump people are afraid to talk to us. And I don't know why, because we're just kind of, well, how are we not telling it like it is? The economy is going to really be hurting in about 6, 8 months. People, I said a year originally, a couple months ago, about a month or two ago. That's where we're going with this thing. You can't say it isn't going to happen. And then the reason it's going to hurt is because relatively the economy's been pretty good the last 4 or 5 years since we came out of COVID, or say 3 years since we came out of COVID. Okay, relatively good. All of a sudden, it's people are not going to know what to do. You can't buy. You don't have a job. Where are you going to go? Now you can't make your payments. Are people going to get put out of their homes? Are they going to get put out of their rental? You know how I feel about all that. That's why so many people have to rent, because it's easy to put them out. Where are we going to be going with all this? You know, people just go, hey, I'm telling you, this is right around the corner. It's not like next year or 2 years from now. If I'm wrong, you'll know it right away, which will be in the next couple months. What I love is listening to Mr. Wonderful and Shark Tank. Thank you for the hearts. I love listening to Mr. Wonderful and the Shark Tank. He goes, you got to do, keep cutting. Cut, 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 cut. I think he was like, thought he was Bruce Lee. Cut, 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 cut. He should look as good as Bruce Lee. The problem is these rich guys are all just sitting there. It's easy to say cut because they got the cash. It's not going to hurt them. If interest rates go up, they'll make more money on their bonds that they own. Okay?
Taxes are
They'll
going to go
put
down.
right. They borrow from each other. They don't even need to go to a bank. These guys have so much cash, and you got all these dark banks. I don't mean as being illegal. I mean where they're not really. Where they're these institutions you don't see them like Chase or these that are regulated by the government. But who cares about regulation anymore, right? So we have that going on, and it's just. Uh, I think we got a real problem coming, and when it smacks, it's going to smack. You got major default payment defaults on cars, defaults, but they're behind on payments. I don't know where they call them defaults, whether it be 90 days, under 20 days, whatever it is. But on payments, you're going to start seeing it on, I assume, FHA type of loans if you haven't already started seeing it. And then you're just going to start seeing people say, I can't afford to live here anymore. What am I going to do? And Musk is going to say, do me a favor, lady. Send me a letter showing me the 5 things you did yesterday, last week when you worked. Did you see that? And
Yeah,
that's what he'll do, and that's what's going on. We're not. I'm not. Listen, vaccinated. We're not calling for economic D-Day in any way, shape, or form. What I've been saying is that compared to the way we've been living, when this thing hits, it's going to hit hard because it's relative to how you've been living. If you've been living, if we've had a bad economy for 4 years and something happens a little bit, it doesn't affect you as much because you're used to living in a bad economy. We're used to living in a relatively good economy. So when things start hitting and unemployment starts going up, I'm not saying it goes up to 1,000,000% and we're going to depression, but when it starts going up and things start happening, people are going to feel it. It's going to be your neighbor next door. It's going to be it's going to be your family, your cousin, your uncle. That's what it's going to be, and that's what happens. We have lived through this. Joe and I have lived through these cycles. That's one thing. You get older, people go, oh, you're out. Well, we live through good music, but you see what happens, and it's natural. How can you miss this? You can't miss it. It's just going to hit. And then when it hits, its question is going to be, is it good for the country or not? I don't think so. I don't see any forethought in what's going on. I just see people getting cut off. I see fake numbers getting put up there on Doge. And then they go, hey, by the way, if we save money, we'll send it to you. That makes sense. What did you need Doge for then? The idea of Doge is to cut the money and put it towards the deficit, right? Not to send you or me $5,000. I mean, it's just everybody. It's like this stuff just getting thrown out. It's like nonstop, just confetti getting thrown out. You go, sit back and see it. This economy is in trouble relative to where it's been, and we could see a real problem over the next year. And I hope I'm wrong. Gosh, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. What do you think, Joe?
yes. I Let me give a specific example of what you're talking about. At University of Penn, they got a notice that the indirect costs are going to be capped at 15%, which means University of Penn is going to lose about $250 million. So, what is the consequence of that? So, immediately, the department heads get a letter to say that you can't admit as many graduate students as we normally do. As a matter of fact, some of the graduate students who are already accepted into the programs at Penn are now being told they can't come. In other words, we're going to contract the number of students coming into the university. So that's how the university is going to respond. That's how businesses are going to respond to these measures, these cutting measures that the government is taking to try and control cost. It's going to contract the workforce. It's going to contract our ability to teach new students. It really hurts our future development. It's very short-sighted. And then to compound the short-sightedness, they're going to turn around and give stimulus checks to people. Again, what is the purpose of that? To assuage people to say, "Oh, look at all this money we're saving. This is fantastic." and it's be a nice popular measure, but it's basically bred in circuses. It's to keep the population distracted when the fundamental problem is that when you take indiscriminate cuts to something, you're going to cut fat perhaps, but you're also going to cut the meat. You're going to cut the reason why these agencies are in place in the first place.
Well, the medical, something. It's just that the medical research is getting killed. We lead the world medical research, and it's getting killed. And when you cut it down, I mean, you hear the Republicans complaining about it in Alabama and other places. Katie Britton, she's a senator from Alabama. She's a Republican, yelling, "Hey, well, not yelling. They don't yell at Trump. Please, please, you're cutting. Why are you cutting? I need my money for medical research. We need medical research all around the country. That's what we need, okay? And people who are saying, I appreciate what you're saying. Well, economic downturns happen. The problem with economic downturns happening is when it starts, you don't know when it stops. You don't know how far it goes. You don't know how bad it hits, or maybe it isn't that bad. And then when you're in the middle of it, what's going to happen? Interest rates are going to start going down or up. Who knows? Where are you going to buy things? It's not a normal thing. Okay, we've been going through really bad, really weird, I don't mean bad, weird economic times since COVID. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. But now to just say, hey, let's have a downturn. We went through a downturn. People were living at home. The market dropped. You couldn't buy anything. There was nothing out there. Then the whole thing turned. We've been living through all that. So right now if this economy just hits and suddenly unemployment starts hitting, that's when the confidence levels drop. And that's when other corporations, not the government, it's so much more than Musk and Trump. That's when then others feel, well, the government does it, I can do it. And then they start laying off. And others, I'm telling you, you can see it. You don't hear people talking about it, but if you look, you'll see there are layoffs happening in a lot of big corporations. People laying off here, people laid off here for whatever reason, okay? And and let me keep this in mind too. Laying off in a corporation and government are two separate games. So you can't really compare, but you can compare the amount of people who are going to be leaving. So if you see that happening and suddenly they're not buying, they're not paying, they don't have bills, that's where your problem is. And that's not what is it. The government is not a cartel, MB. It just isn't, okay? The government is us. Okay, and we are not a cartel. Don't fall for the jive. The cartel is what's going in there now. Let me tell you what the cartel did. The cartel just took apart the rule of law in America. Now you go, Mark, you're going so crazy. Mark, you grew up on Perry Mason. What do you know? Oh, Mark, right on. Okay. Let me tell you something. If you don't see this rolling, let's give an example. You got Eric Adams in New York. The federal government has now, or the top guys said, we're going to let you off if you can take care of our immigration, whatever help their program. Okay. And if you do that, we'll let you off because we know these indictments, because we know that you're just too busy worried about the indictments to help us with this. And you're too busy to run for office. Now that should matter, right? That Eric Adams is too busy running for office, so you got to drop the indictment for that. But on top of that, you get 7 attorneys, major ones from conservatives who clerked for Antonin Scalia and Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts, and Justice Kavanaugh before Kavanaugh was there. You're talking, to me, right-wing Federalist members, and they are going crazy over this, this is just not what you do. Think about it. No longer, I mean, in this situation, it doesn't matter if you're guilty or innocent. All that matters is you had something to give to the sovereign. You had something to give to the king, and the king says, I'll take it and I'll let you go for it. Let me ask you something. What do you ever need a lawyer for? If Trump lets this whole thing go down, if you get pulled into court, I would recommend, now we're talking years down the road because it's going to take a while to go through it, hire a lobbyist. Because that lobbyist is going to know the person to get to the politician who knows the person to get to the judge to make sure you're taken care of. Because you'll be able to say, I'm doing something for the state or I'm doing something for this, and now they're going to let me off. It won't matter. Think about this. Think about this as an American, okay? It won't matter guilt or innocence. All that will matter is whether or not you had pledged fealty to the top. And if you want to draw comparisons with Biden and talk lawfare, I have no idea if you're doing it. I don't see the comments right now, but there is no comparison because, excuse me, Biden, if you want to say, let's assume that there was lawfare. He didn't go forward and say to all these defendants, you give me this and I'll let you off. You give me somebody's scalps. You give me somebody's hides over here in this political sphere or over here, and I'll take care of you. He didn't do that. That's not what happened. You could say it was lawfare. I'm not going to argue today that point. The point is that now what they have said is if you give the sovereign something, the sovereign will let you walk. Is that America? I'm just an American citizen. Joe's just an American citizen. And before, I'm going to let him go. But before we go, I want you to do, please, look at my channel, Just an American Citizen. It's been up. We got thousands of videos been up for over 10 years laying this stuff out. We've been on this no jiving, and please subscribe. And please look at the Dr. V, Joe Talks, the same stuff. We're laying it out here. Go, Joe. I mean, you got to be worried, guys. And I'm going to let Joe go, but think about the picture. Maybe I should have done this on our thumbnail. A Lady Justice with the with a cloth in front of her face, and probably instead of the justice being balanced, it's to the left, and there's a tear coming down because that's what it's going to be. We are losing it. He is destroying our rule of law. Go, Joe.
Yeah. So what people are going to say, and when I talk to people who support Trump, what they're going to say is that corruption has always been part of our system. It's just that people have tried to hide it more. And so they'll point out that Biden pardoned his son, that there's always been corruption going on. There's a lot of fat and waste in the government. And ironically, by Trump putting it out there in the open and being clear that it's tit for tat, that it's all transactional, that he's actually being more honest. And so they
He
see him
isn't,
as
but
being
Joe, he
honest
isn't.
because
He
he's
isn't.
honest in his corruption.
Shut it down. He isn't being honest. I'm not shutting you. I mean, shut down that thought. Shut down that thought because the judicial system is not corrupt, Joe. I mean, these people can say what they want. Listen to me.
Go
I'm
ahead.
telling you, I get pissed about this.
Okay.
I
All
have
right.
videos up where I've gone after the Supreme Court, where I've taken positions that I think the Supreme Court has been wrong, and I think they're going really political. So I'm upfront about where I stand with it. But when you're talking judges who are in front, people are in front of every day to deal with criminal stuff, to deal with even as little as speeding, to deal with lawsuits, to deal with all this stuff, it is not corrupt. You come in with evidence, you lay your evidence down. It ain't like medicine, where it isn't. Medicine's an art and incredible research. Law's different. Law, you have to find that research and you work with words, but it's still, you come in with evidence. Is it real or is it not real? It's basic Perry Mason, judge for the defense. And for people to come in and say that is corrupt is total BS, because what's corrupt is Russian, the so-called judicial system, Venezuelan, Chinese. Our system is not corrupt. And let me tell you something. Those of you who say it, I don't even believe you're really Americans or you're really even looking at it. We have a hell of a system. We have an excellent judicial system with a lot of problems.
Mark,
Sure,
it's
because
excellent.
I'm too worked up. I can't get unworked up. Give me a second. Yeah, judges can be human beings. Yeah, you may get bad rulings, but you also can appeal. It's not corrupt. Our justice system is excellent. And I see people blowing through there. You are wrong, baby. You are wrong if you say otherwise. Go for it, Joe.
It's not corrupt if you have money, if you can afford the good lawyers. How many times does someone rich get off with a slap on the wrist and someone who's poor goes to jail? There's plenty of examples of people who, maybe because of their background, maybe because they can't afford the right lawyers, do not get fair justice. So
Or
that's the
maybe
sort
they
of
were
thing.
guilty. or maybe they were guilty. Look, you're now talking about the criminal system, the criminal justice system, where you have all these people. That's a whole different, because you have all people have to be willing to put money into that. Nobody wants to put money into that. Okay, they just want to put people into jails where the whole thing is just where the water doesn't run and nothing works. So, and I'm not want to get into any of that. I'm talking basic justice. You can represent yourself and walk in and show your evidence. I'm not talking about you going against Elon Musk. I'm talking about you going against somebody else. And it's hard and it isn't easy. And they put you through the hoops. The judges put you through the hoops, even when you know the judge knows you're right. You got to go. That's not perfect, but it is a chance where two people can come in, lay your truth down, lay the truth down, and let the facts determine. Not Fox News, not CNN, not MSNBC. Let the facts determine. And by now saying it doesn't matter, those facts, all that matters is what you can give to the state, so that the state will make a determination on whether or not it's coming after you, takes all of that of America and throws it out. Okay. I don't care if you're right wing or left wing, because when when they come after one, they come after all, and it's going to happen. Joe.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. And in the ideal, that's how it works. But practically, it doesn't really work that way. And there's plenty of data to show that certain people, because of their background, because of their financial situation, do not get
Okay.
a fair shake.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
now
what? That
your
doesn't
point
mean
may
the
be,
system,
well, it's
that
not
doesn't mean the
perfect.
system is corrupt. That doesn't make the system corrupt. It just means if some people, a chunk of them can't afford it in there, it doesn't make the system itself corrupt. That's what you see. What's corrupt, Joe? You got to take a step back. I love you. You're the medical man. You lay your stuff out about the research, and it's so right and it's so real. This, though, goes to the core of our judicial system. Okay, when the issue is not, forget whether or not some people get screwed by it and others don't. This is the basic idea, that it isn't that you go in and they're going to charge you because they think you're guilty or you're not guilty. The state always charges. They love to charge, a state or federal, whatever, whenever in the old days, who knows? But they do it. Okay, remember, we're all opinion, but they do it based on the weight of the evidence internally, or having it. Here they said the weight of the evidence was okay. The guy said, Beauvais, I had no problem with you moving forward. You see, I mean, it's just all admitted, Joe. So when you sit there, that is what's tearing apart the very fabric of our judicial system, because when they say they can do it, and it's going to go to some, well, I'm assuming Judge Ho's going to dismiss it for him after exposing how it all came out. But after that, this is where it's going, and this in 1 month is really ripping at the fabric of the judicial system, just like all these cuts are ripping at the fabric of our medical research and all that stuff that we need.
You're blaming Trump for all this stuff. And I would
Sure,
say
he's the
that the
president.
problem occurred before Trump. That
Uh,
many
no,
people feel that the system is not fair. You described an ideal system. We
no,
don't
I didn't.
have an ideal system.
Of
People have
course.
been getting screwed
So
for
what?
years, and
Okay. So
and
what?
and no one has addressed that. And so that creates an environment where someone says, I want somebody in there to mix things up, to at least be honest with the corruption. And
How
then when
can
it's
you?
laid out there, then we can deal with it.
There
But
is. Wait a second. You show me the corruption. Absent. There's some cases here or there. Absent people, the government being unwilling to fund, to be able to let people have public defenders, which the law provides for, to
mhm,
let people have all this stuff. When you tell me that they're prepared to do that, then it'll be where you want it to be, but it's not funded. It's underfunded. So these people
right,
you're talking
right.
to, that's not corruption, that's politics. And I'm there. The bottom line, that was politics. It's a decision made by those in charge who have the money, right? That's what it is. It's no more than that. It's not corruption. Corruption's when you look at the cases, when you look at the actual system, and you know that if you walk in, you got a chance for a fair shake. When you walk in, you'll get a fair shake, and you'll believe it walking in the door, and you can get it. You can't do it in almost any other country in the world. You have rights to do that. It is not corrupt. You got some bad
Well, what do
judges.
you
Yeah,
call it? Does
good.
O.J. Simpson walk if he's not O.J. Simpson, if he's O.J. Williams from North Philly? He doesn't walk.
The
He
jury
go,
made
yeah,
a
exactly. The
decision.
jury made a
That's
decision.
why the law requires 12 people. That's why the founders did it that way. And you may not agree with what the jury found, but I'll tell you this. If anybody remembers what happened, I think OJ did it. Ain't no question he did it. But remember something. The lawyers for the state were horrible, my opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
They went
yeah.
in and they said to OJ, remember the glove that they found? Put the glove on OJ. It hardly fit. That was it. OJ was going to cry tears of happiness when it happened. Remember, he started showing it to everybody. That was dumb on the part of the state and blew their case away. Huh. So now I give you that wasn't corruption, that wasn't nullification,
Incompetence. Okay.
that was
All right.
people actually looking and saying, I had the just a little bit of doubt, which is all it takes, and they wanted to find that doubt. Okay, but they blew it. The state blew it, Joe, and that happens. Was that corrupt because the state blew it? No, they just blew it. It happens. It's called court. It happens in medicine. It happens in law. It happens in everything. Okay. And we're all human. So I'm just saying, understand, take a step back. If you think you can't walk into a courtroom because you got to sue somebody or you're being sued because you know that the only way you can win is if you pay off somebody or in the
Yeah,
background
I,
help
I hear
somebody,
you.
that's the point. And that's where Trump's taking it with this move up with Eric Adams. And that's where it's going. And some of my friends say, Mark, you're going so wild. Yeah, I am, because I see it out there. I don't care what's happening today. It's tomorrow. I don't live in New York. Sure, New Yorkers don't even have a mayor anymore. He's being held by, being walked by Trump. Think about that. I mean, that's what's going on. It's just not good. It's really not good. And that's where I am. And I will fight for medical research just as hard as I fight for this. Okay.
I guess all sides have to learn a little bit humility. And I'm thinking back to during COVID times when researchers said, you just need to stay 6 feet away from people. Um, you need to wear a mask, that people have to stay home. And some of the recommendations that
Notice
they
some good
made were
time.
not accurate. And so then people began to doubt vaccines. They began to doubt everything that the scientific community was saying. And I agree with you that there's a lot of good in the legal system, a lot of good in medical science, but
But it
sometimes
wasn't
we get it
corrupt.
wrong. But
Use
sometimes
the
we get it
word.
wrong.
Wait, you're changing the issue. Don't go with the Trump way of letting them change the issue. Yeah, you get it wrong. It wasn't corrupt. Okay? I don't believe it was corrupt. I believe all those people who were working on all this were doing it with the best of intentions, wanted to help Americans, wanted to eradicate, wanted to make sure the kids were okay. They blow it. It looks like it in some stuff, but I don't think it was corrupt, Joe. I think it was good intentions. That's a big difference there, okay? You blow it, you blow it. What can you say?
All right.
Okay, I mean, yeah, but that's not bad intentions. That's good intentions. That's some people caring about Americans. They blew it. At the same time, Trump was saying, shoot bleach in your body. Remember? I mean, come on. And people were dying when Trump was president. I'm not jumping up and down about that. I'm just saying it's not a matter of corruption. They're using the word corruption. I want you to stick with this. Yeah, there's always some corruption anywhere where there are human beings, but our judicial system is a hell of a judicial system, and it is not basically corrupt. Just like our medical research and our medical system is basically good, it's not basically corrupt. And what's happening is Trump is unleashing people, and I say to people, please don't fall for this, to just take things apart when we have so much good stuff there that you don't want to lose. And you don't want to be, I know this, you want to talk about poor people who are stuck, who can't get a good representation now because they're poor. Wait till the game changes and it's all a matter of who you know and how much money you got, okay? How much representation they're going to get then, Joe. So you look at this and it's like, Woo! I get worked up. I love this country. I love this country. I love your comments. Thank you so much. Please, just an American citizen, please subscribe. I'm all over the place with this stuff. Joe Talks. I'm sorry, Dr. V. Joe Talks. Give us some thumbs up. We love the hearts. We love it. And we don't care that you disagree with us. We care you're with us. And I really kind of appreciate it. Oh, John Lacombe says, Joe, that the medical system's not corrupt. No,
Well,
it
yeah,
is corrupt.
I like to talk to him about that, but eh,
No,
again,
no, no, no. John Lacombe asked you, just like I met it with the legal. John Lacombe is saying, basically being sarcastic, medical system's corrupt. Tell John Lacombe why the medical system's not corrupt, Joe.
well, again, we have to look at specific examples. I think
Don't give me specific.
the medical
The
system
system.
has some challenges, but
Right.
if we go back to COVID, I do believe that Fauci's intent and the intent of the medical establishment was to try to save lives. I really
Mm-hmm.
believe that. Now, someone else might say, oh, you only think the other side is corrupt. You never think your side is corrupt. Your side is for goodness, and the other side has evil intent. And so the
I'm not
question is,
talking
how do
who's
you distinguish between those two?
goodness. Who's talking goodness? You hear that word come out of my
Okay,
mouth?
okay. When Trump
Goodness.
said swallow bleach, how do you know his intent was? He thought in his heart that would be a good strategy to
I
help
didn't
people.
question his intent. I just said it was dumb as could be.
Well, dumb,
Okay,
you
which is
said
the
you
truth.
implied corrupt, but
I
it
didn't
was
call him. I didn't call him corrupt then. I was talking about people dying. My point was, you see, you weren't listening. I love you,
okay. All
Doctor
right, all
V.
right.
I took from what you said and I went right into it. And I said, look, all these people died, hundreds of thousands of people. I said, I'm not calling him corrupt. I'm not blaming him here about that. I said, but they did the bleach, they did things, he blew it. They all blew it. Everybody tried it. But my point is, the system itself is not corrupt. The medical systems, now you want to talk insurance and how you want to, that's a different issue. I don't think that's corrupt. That's a question of what the rules are. And we can get into all that because a lot of that's Medicare and how it's all set up. And I think people don't really get into it. They don't really get deep into it in the newspapers. But that's different. But basic medical doctors want to save people. Doctors want to help people. If you tell me doctors don't feel that way, then medicine's corrupt. But doctors
I
and nurses and everybody, it's not corrupt, Joe.
Being on
And
the
law isn't
inside,
corrupt.
that's how
Right,
it feels to me, that it's
right,
not
right,
corrupt, that our goal is
right,
to help people. People
right.
on the outside might look and say, Big Pharma is really interested in profit. They're going to push drugs on people to make a profit, not based on what's going to help people get better. People on the outside are going to say the insurance companies are corrupt. They're going to figure out how to deny payment for certain medical services so that they can make more money. So
And
people
they'll
from
just
the
shoot them.
outside may look at our system and see big pharma, big insurance, maybe even big doctor practices, big hospitals are in it to make a profit, not to help people. And I can understand a bit from where they're coming from. I have not done a very good job in expressing how, for most doctors, most nurses, most medical professionals, even pharmaceutical companies, even hospitals, even insurance companies, I believe have in their heart that they want to help people. I believe that. I can't prove that. But people from the outside may look at it and say it's a corrupt system. We need to expose the corruption. We need to cut the waste, cut the fat. And
That's
that's why they're
different than
supporting
corruption.
many of Trump's activities now, and that's why they're supporting Elon Musk to shake things up because I think we haven't done a very good job of showing that we really care about people. I don't think the Democrats and Republicans before Trump did a very good job of seriously looking at fat in the federal government. And that's what people are looking at and saying it's time to shake things up. And so they like it when Elon Musk is waving around his what is it, chainsaw to break things up. My own perspective is you don't cut out fat by throwing out the whole steak, and I think there's a lot of steak in there, and I think people are going to find that they missed the steak. I had a big party for the Super Bowl. Okay,
Jeremiah.
we invited a lot of people. We had a great time, but at the end of the Super Bowl party, we had some cheesesteaks left over. It was waste. So what do? the next time there's a Super Bowl party when the Eagles play the Ravens next year, do I not order any cheesesteaks? No, you look at what happened, you change things based on the facts, based on the data, and then you revise your estimates of how much people are going to eat. That's looking at things systematically. That's taking a scalpel to the problem, not a chainsaw to it. And I think people are going to find that they miss the meat. They're going to miss people gathering together and sharing some cheesesteaks, sharing some good time together. They're going to miss that because of that. There's a couple extra amount of cheesesteaks left over at the end of the party. That's my feeling.
Well, let me tell you, two things just happened.
Go ahead.
We have seen Dr. V get emotional, I think, for the first time in all the times here, even when he was Max Headroom. Secondly, we know he loves cheesesteaks. He loves Philly cheesesteaks. We know
I,
that too.
I like the cheesesteaks. You like the chicken cheesesteaks. I like the
I like the chicken
original.
steaks. Right, that's it,
Yeah.
exactly. But that's the thing. But you see, that's why we try to talk here, and what we're talking about is, yeah, I have my issues with Trump, and Joe does too. But we're talking as Americans, and he's talking as a doctor. I come at this the legal thing, and it's just a different approach. I just think, watch Perry Mason. It's like, you know, then it. I mean, if Hamilton Berger was paid off every time he was the state's attorney, we'd be in big trouble. I mean, it's just that's just basic black and white there. Innocent, I'm guilty or innocent. That's all. But it says you had to show, you had to this. Yeah, it was all BS. But it was kind of the whole idea of what the judicial system's supposed to be. And that's why it does work. And you don't want to throw it out. You don't want to turn lawyers into lobbyists to lobby the judge or to think about it. Take that step back. You get a speeding ticket. Rich guy gets over there, goes, oh, it was a DUI. I know John Doe. John can call Judge so and so, and Judge, I go in front of Judge so and so. I get no points. Ball game's over. He go, hey, yeah, I did it because he did something to help me, and by helping me stay on the bench, it was good, so I can help him. I mean, think about that, okay? The
People are
Supreme
going to
Court
say
has
you're
already ruled
naive to
that tips.
think that doesn't happen now.
What?
That's naive to think it's not happening now.
Look, hardly ever. Hardly ever, because it got rooted out. There was so much of this stuff so many years ago, and they rooted it out. Just like they just changed so many rules. The ethics rules are so tough, Joe. It's crazy. People can watch all the TV, Suits and LA Law they want. That ain't reality. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on when you're in a business where words matter. Okay, and you're working on the words and you're dealing with it, but I personally, I'd never want to have to be a defendant, but where else would I want to go? Russia? China?
Hmm.
Mexico? Okay, so now if I have to be in a position
Fair
where I
enough.
have to call you up and say, give me a loan, I know the guy up here who can take care of it. Help me, Joe. And you go, okay, I'll do it. And I get off. It's just wrong. Yeah, sometimes somebody knows somebody. It's human, okay? But not on most of the stuff. And it's the same way in medical. People may not have the money to get in, but so many people do get in who never would have had a chance before. I mean, look at stuff like, what is it, Danny Thomas's stuff and all that, Joe. You see, it's all people pile money in. Americans. What a great country we got, man. What a great country we got. And you see this, and that's what you don't want to lose. That's Americans. Okay. Hit all that stuff. Okay, let's where else are we going? I want to hit this issue again, which Joe's going to hit more, and I'm going to get to the. I know nobody likes federal. I'm sorry, likes foreign policy, but I got to hit these measles. These measles are getting wider and wider down in Texas and in New Mexico. I believe they said the Mennonite community. I could be incorrect, but they're saying that. And the problem is you need what, like 94% or 96%
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
it, Joe? Is that what it is? And I think like 80% are taking
yeah.
it.
It's down to
And what
80%.
right. And now what we have is a situation where there is such disrespect and such absolutely no belief in the medical system that people are willing to let their children get sick like this. That way they could scar themselves for the rest of their lives. I have no idea what else it could do. But you could say whatever you want about vaccines. These are basic vaccines that work. When we grew up, we knew it worked. I still remember reading, they went in school, they taught us showed us pictures about people getting in line to get the polio vaccines. Some of the people died. Some of the kids died and took the polio vaccines, but very few, but most lived, and it broke polio. It broke it. FDR made sure, and that works. This stuff works, guys. And I'm not talking about the new stuff or where you want to go. I'm not talking autism, but we know it works. What is it? MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella. It works. Give them one. You don't make your kids get sick because you don't think it works when we know it works. Joe, now we're talking medicine. Once I'm
Yeah,
blowing it right over to
there's
Joe.
some
Am I
things that
wrong,
are
Joe? Am I
some things that are
wrong?
just facts. Some
Okay,
things that
go
are
ahead.
just facts. And the vaccines, it's a fact that they work. And a medical disorder, mumps, rubella, that was maiming people. 20% of people who get the measles wind up going to the hospital. As you get older, immunosuppressed, it can kill you. We virtually had those diseases cured in a sense that no one was getting it anymore. They were gone. They were gone. Polio was gone. And then someone got the idea that the vaccines were causing autism or having other side effects. And so people started getting less vaccinations, and all of a sudden we start seeing it come back now. People need to use their head. People need to look at facts, and I think that's another thing that's really affecting this country is that
Right
people
on,
don't
John.
don't
No, they can't.
don't understand the actual data. They
Maybe
don't
then.
understand facts. And what was it? The other day, I was talking to some friends who are
It is
Trump
trash,
supporters,
John.
and they were telling me how Zelensky is getting all these kickbacks, and basically all this Russian propaganda is what they
Right.
were reading on X, and they were believing it and accepting it as facts.
That's
We
good,
have to
Mike.
have some way of distinguishing propaganda from actual facts. And
We
I
can't
think we're
now.
losing that ability to see what's true and what's not true. And
We
that's
lost
why,
it.
at least here in our little thing, I like to keep it to facts. And you've made some predictions
Or we
about where the
tried.
economy is going to go, and that's a reasonable prediction. But I want to know what the actual facts are. What
We'll
is
know.
the inflation rate today versus what it was when Trump took over? He said one of his priorities when he came in to become president on day one was he was going to do something about inflation.
Well,
Has
now he
he
said
done
he
anything?
can't. Now he said he can't. He
Now
said
he
it's
says he
too
can't.
hard
Okay,
now.
well, so he's changing the bar, but we need to hold him accountable. Has inflation improved? Fact, yes or no? What else? What other
We'll
priorities?
know.
He
We'll know.
said he wanted to do something about immigration. Has he made any progress on that? He wanted to end the wars in Ukraine. Seems like that's still going on. And the war in the Middle East sounds like that's still going on. Now, and
And he's
maybe there's some
supporting
things that he
Putin.
has done some
Nothing.
things that are good. But if we just keep it to the facts, what kind of job has he done? And is this what people voted for him to do? I think he's
Well,
done a very
hardly.
good job of going after enemies, intimidating people, upsetting our neighbors. He did bring something
Daniel, you're
back.
right.
He brought back the All-Star game for the hockey has been great. It's been a lot of fun watching US play Canada in hockey, and that's been fun watching the hockey. He's brought that back, but what he's upset our neighbors to what purpose? What have we gotten out of that? So I'm
Listen,
not
do me a
sure
favor.
he gets very good grades right now, but you can convince me otherwise. If people want to present facts in the chat to tell me how they're doing better, then I'd be happy to listen to that. But
Let
the
me
facts that
jump
he
into the
laid
mosh
out, that
pit.
he said, I'm not sure he's doing a very good job.
Look, it's been 1 month. Let me jump into the mosh pit. Can I jump into the mosh pit, Joe?
Please,
I'm going
go
to go
ahead.
right into the comments. I'm going to look at some of
Absolutely.
these comments. Of course, he's supporting Putin. He came out. He said that Putin didn't invade Ukraine. It's all Ukraine's part. All Ukraine's fault. When did Ukraine become an ally? When they became a democracy. When they had elections. When they asked us to help them. They were invaded. Trump. It's only been a month, right? He's only been in office, and look what he's done. I'd have to talk about the inflation. Mike, already look at the numbers, Mike. The inflation numbers are already up. It's there. Okay? Very simple. What's concerning is our aviation system. That's concerning. And what has Trump done to change that? Nothing. Give him a chance. He just got back in the job. What do you mean? He's done more than what do you mean he's done more? You're right. He's raising inflation. He's raising unemployment, maybe helping at Gaza. He's now made Russia, who are the thugs of the world, our buds. He's now wasted all of our money by doing that. When did Trump say Ukraine? Dennis, he said it. He said it twice. Dennis, come on. Right there. We the people. We the people. I mean, you've spoken. We speak every 2 months. I mean, I'm sorry, every 2 years. We'll see what happens. They're not hiding biological weapons carry. That's what Russia said. Oh, I love this mosh pit. And it's all BS. Give him 300 chances. Trump's one of the best presidents. It's not my impression. And he's really been, it looks bad right now, but we'll see. We'll see what happened. What did JB do? Who's JB? He's not helping. Who?
Joe Biden.
Oh, Joe Biden. Joe Biden isn't president. He's not helping poverty-stricken neighborhoods. I love this mosh pit. You're right. He ain't helping nothing. Safety of people when they zap body cams. They figured out how to zap communication. I'm not sure about that. Partners in space with Russia, but enemies on the ground. Mike, Russia's killed hundreds of thousands of people. Russia stole Ukraine kids and stole them and gave them to Russian families. What are you talking about? But we appreciate your input. Needs to stop thinking you're right. We have to think as Americans, Morrison. I love this. Tell it, Todd. Spartacus is right. Boogie, I got a cousin, Boogie. You're right. Keep it separate. I'm tired of this. Everybody sits there and says it's what do they call it? Like it's owed. Come on, man. We put money in for all that kind of stuff. I'm tired of hearing everybody wanting to take it and be chosen. Who cares? He's not in Washington, John. He's gone. CR, we have a disarmament agreement back in the day. Yeah, that's right. Good point, CR. They gave up, Ukraine gave up all of their nukes. All of their nukes. If they hadn't given up all that, this is great. If they hadn't given up all of their nukes, Russia wouldn't be there and we wouldn't have to deal with this. Please give us thumbs up, give us hearts. Please go now. This is great. Just American citizen, please sit there. Please subscribe. Please go on to Dr. V. Joe Talks. One day he'll put more videos up, and he needs subscribers. Please give us subscribers. Just back into the mosh pit. Liberal snowflakes. Oh, it was cold. If it snows, it snows. And Snowflake is a pretty aggressive stock at the same time, but we don't call stocks here. He's loved so much, John. It's a group that loves him. Others hate him. I mean, I just don't. I can't
Popularity is
understand.
going down.
Right? Really.
Approval ratings have been dropping like a rock.
Exactly. Yeah, right. But report for what? Somebody wants to report. Who are we reporting? The people are putting in. I haven't seen any bad comments to report about. I think it's right. Right on, Burden. Ukraine is thousands of years old, and it's let's keep this right, Michelle. We had talked about this also, right? And you hit it right on, Michelle. These oil companies don't want to drill anymore because they're making perfect money doing what they're doing. If they have to go in and pump more money into drill, they're not going to make as much because they're going to be bringing down their prices. And Saudi Arabia and Russia and all of them want to keep the prices higher, so they'll keep their stuff off the market. It doesn't work. It can only go down as low as it's economical to drill. We're already drilling, baby, drilling. That's what we're doing, man. Thank you, Maggie. I love you. Let me tell you, I love our commentators. I do this every week, and people laugh. I'm not laughing. I love you. This is great. I got Joe Smuts, our first mosh pit. Please let me know if you like the mosh pit. I love the mosh pit. Okay, Key was 1,000 years old. Oklahoma, let me tell you, Oklahoma was a great show. Oklahoma, Oklahoma. Whoop! I ain't worried about mental brothers. People are talking about this. Kool-Aid, I was never a Kool-Aid fan. It never turned me on, John. It goes way back, Ukraine. It's always been there. Well, I'm happy. Well, taking back white South Africans back Europe. I'm not sure about that one. Ukraine has been Ukrainian for so long. Look, you had Russia, you had USSR. You've had different Russia. If you look at the maps, Russia, Mike, has changed over the years. When they've gone into wars with Japan and everybody, they've changed. They had to take out their czar. They had so much going on. It's been crazy. Thank you, Justin. I don't know if we're normal, but we try, and we're not all that liberal.
I guess that's a compliment, Mark. We're more normal.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, John. We appreciate you. And John, bring your friends on. John, give us thumbs up. Subscribe. Tell your friends to come on. We love this. This is what America is, man. This is the First Amendment. This is people going at it who love their country, isn't that what's most important? We all love our country, and that's why we're here doing this. And that's why people are coming in, and that's why we can't jump you. And if you jump me personally, hey, have you seen anybody call me Mike Lindell recently? I haven't
Oh
seen
my
that. So
God. Can we
what?
go a whole
A whole day
session here
without
with
calling me
Mike
Mike
Lindell?
Lindell.
Oh my God. That would be a first.
How great would that be? How great is that car guy? This is just too much. It's just, oh my, I love it. Okay, well, I think we pretty much hit everything, but now I'm going to do a little change on the album of the week
Oh,
because I just
we're gonna
feel
get
this.
some good music this time.
I
Some
just feel this. I just feel this. Okay, I'm going with it with a book. Okay, now most people, this is an older book called The Glorious Cause, and this is a novel about the American Revolution. And I think if people want to start feeling America, want to start feeling that we are all one, we need to start looking at some of our histories, or this may not be a history, it's a novel, but there's all these histories that come in and start seeing what it is that brought us together. And by Shad, just as an easy read, you'll blow right through it and you'll feel good as an American. You'll see the issues we had to deal with. You'll see how we were split into three groups. You had the Tories, you had the Patriots, and you had those who were kind of staying on the side. You had people, remember, even the Patriots were tar and feathering people. Think about that. Burning tar on people and putting feathers. I mean, we think it's crazy now. It was crazy then. Read about our history. What an incredible history we have. And you'll close this book and say, and this is where we're becoming something really good. That's what we need to do. That's what I recommend. What do you say, Dr. V? Do you
no,
disagree?
I think as you look back at the history of the country, we've made many mistakes, and it has not been a perfect union. But that's been our goal. That's been our ideal, and I think it's still worth trying to pursue that.
It
And
is. And we do it by reading this,
yeah,
but not just this, books about America. So we learn and love America. Because let me tell you something, okay? I love this country. There is no country in the world I would rather live in. I've said that from the beginning. I think I'm speaking for Joe, and people
oh
go
yeah,
that. I feel this, man. This is the greatest country in the world, and we have the greatest people in the world. And that's why we have to start looking at our history, start looking at this. I'll be back with music next week. It will not be Pink Floyd. Keep this in mind also. We're on now every Wednesday at 5. So we need you to come on then. We come on here. Please, just an American citizen. Please subscribe. You can comment all the time. I'm doing posts all the time. So feel free. We even have a poll up
oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Joe made me do a poll. And then Dr. V, Joe Talks, you got to give him some subscriptions, please.
There you go.
We
One
got to get him up to
subscriber.
50. We got to
One
get him up to
subscriber.
50. We got to get him up to 50. So that's where we are. You guys are the greatest. Next, we're so far down the list. We know what's greatest. I'm doing the mosh pit next time. That was great jumping in and talking with everybody. That like got me so worked up. Okay. Thank you all. You're the greatest. We love you. Enjoy Sunday.
Thanks, John.
And thank you. And thanks all of you. You're all great. Thank you so very much. And that's the way it is.
Period.
Say it, baby. We'll see you all Wednesday. Thank you.